Hi everybody, it's Miss Baker. We are going to be doing LP 34 for the 7th grade class this week. It is due on Wednesday, so I know this is coming a little bit late. I will make sure that these are coming out earlier moving forward for all of you. We are going to be learning about compound shapes, and we are going to be learning about three-dimensional shapes. Now these are very similar things, but for this LP, we are going back into geometry for you. So the first thing that we're doing is compound shapes, which is kind of like a compound word in your English classes. So just like you could say, I cannot go to the movies, you can also take the words can not, put them together and make a new word, can't. I can't go to the movies. In math, a compound shape works a lot of the same way. You take a shape, you take another shape, boom, new shape, okay? So we're going to do an example of finding the area of a compound shape together. It is going to be the same one that's in your notes, so go ahead and make sure you have your packet with you and follow along as I explain my steps and how we do this, okay? So first, let me go ahead and get a whiteboard pulled up for us. Go ahead and share. Awesome, so now you guys should be able to see my whiteboard here. Go ahead and move my face out the way, give us a little more room. Perfect. So for this first part, okay, I'm going to go ahead and draw my shape. So I'm going to have, now remember, I'm not an artist, so I'm going to let them give me a nice rectangle, right? So here's my rectangle. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my semicircle on there for you so we can see what we got. Now, oops, that was not what I wanted. Okay, try this one more time. My rectangle and my semicircle. Awesome. As awesome it can be. Okay, so now we're going to look at the actual measurements of our shapes. So if I look at my notes here, it tells me that the width of my rectangle is 17 yards. So I'm going to label this with my 17 so we don't forget. Looking inside that circle, it tells me that the distance from the center of the circle to one edge is going to be 6 yards. Now, that is what we call the radius. If you remember from a couple of weeks ago when you were learning about circles, radius and diameter are kind of similar, and I know a lot of you got confused. So the radius only goes from the center to the edge. The diameter is what goes all the way across, okay? We are going to be using our radius for these problems. So now, in order to find the area of the big shape, I have to find the area of the two smaller shapes. So if I do the area of my rectangle here, I'm sorry, friends, that did not turn out super neat, but that's okay. If I find the area of my rectangle, I need to first remember what our formula is. Thankfully, you've got your handy dandy sheet of notes here for all of those areas. So if I'm looking for a rectangle, I'm going to go onto my chart where it says rectangle, and it tells me my formula is A equals BH. So area equals base times height. Well, we can see here that my base is the 17. So I'm going to go ahead and substitute 17 in for my base. Now the height is going to be a little different. How do we figure out the height here? Well, for that, we're going to look at the side of this, we're going to look at the side right here, okay? So if the radius of this circle, which is going to go from one edge to the halfway point, is 6, and this rectangle has 2 of those, 6 and 6, 6 plus 6 gives me 12. So my height here is going to be 12. Okay? Your very last step, area equals 17 times 12. Go ahead and do that math. And just like you see in my problem, you find out that the area of the rectangle is 204, and we would say yards squared. Now we use the little square on it because we're covering area, and that means that we're looking at those square units, okay? Now that we found the area of our rectangle, we need to find the area of our semicircle, okay? And a semicircle, if you remember from a few weeks ago, is just half of a circle. So we do everything the same and then cut it in half. So looking at my handy dandy notes page, pulling that out, it says that the area of a circle is equal to pi r squared. Now, oh no, I'm so sorry. I just realized your note sheet doesn't have circles. So here's your friendly reminder. Area of a circle, it's not letting me draw. Area of a circle is pi r squared. So in order to find the area of a semicircle, we need to cut the whole thing in half, okay? Looking back at that circle, my radius here we said was 6. So I'm gonna plug that in. Area is 1/2 pi times 6 to the second power. Okay? So now we need to think about PEMDAS, which we'll be doing a bigger review on the next one, but know that you need these skills. We've already learned them. Start in parentheses, I can't do anything. Go to my exponent. 6 squared is 36 times pi and times the half. Still got the area here. Area equals, okay? So then half of my 36 is 18 pi. Okay, area equals 18 pi. Now, I realize that I have a bit of a typo here in your notes. And for that, I do want to apologize, everybody. I accidentally typoed into my calculator when I was trying to do this math, and I was not careful, and so I made an error. When we simplify 18 times pi, we're going to be multiplying 18 times, and we use the decimal 3.14. I typed in 8 times 3.14, which gave me the 25.12. When you do the correct math, we should be getting that area equals 56.52 yards square. Now again, I do want to apologize for having that error in there. I was working too fast and I should have slowed down and corrected myself, okay? I hope you guys don't make the same mistakes, and I hope you guys are able to learn from my error and make sure that you slow down and double check your work, okay? The very last step that we need to do here is take and actually compound our areas. So I'm gonna take this 204 and I'm gonna take this 56.52 and I'm just going to add them together. 204 plus 56.52, your total area at the end should be 260.52. I'm just going to draw us a little section here, and we get 260.52. And that is our final area of this compound shape. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and turn off this whiteboard real quick, and we will move on to the next section, all right? So after you go through and have double checked the notes and everything, there is a compound shape practice worksheet for you guys. There are a couple of shapes here. One thing I want to give you a couple of tips as we go into this. You can see on these shapes that sometimes it's easy to see what the shapes are, right? For number 2, you can see it looks like a rectangle with a triangle cut out of it. But sometimes it can be a little bit more difficult, like on number 6. So what I recommend is you cut the pieces down so that they make shapes that you recognize, okay? So again, for number 6, I could, taking a look here, I could draw a line to cut this top piece into a triangle. And now I have a nice triangle and a square, okay? Make sure you show me what pieces you are cutting, and make sure that you show all work. If this is not enough space for you, please use a separate sheet of paper, but I really want to see your thinking and how you got your answers, okay? Now, next in our nice little review warm-up area, we're going to be practicing some more fun skills that you guys definitely need to know by now. Okay, we've done this a couple of times throughout this year, and I just want to hit on it one more time before we do end our time together, okay? We're going to be looking at the order of operations. Alrighty, guys, so now we're going to look at some PEMDAS. I'm going to go ahead and open up my whiteboard again, and we can see I've got our little PEMDAS written across the top to remind us our order. I also have the problem number 1 from your worksheet. We're going to go ahead and do this one together as an example, and then there will be 7 more for you to work through, okay? So looking at this one, backtrack. Before we look at the example, let's talk about the worksheet a little bit more. So just to make sure that you guys know what's going on, please show me all of your work. I have a note written at the top of that for you as well, but please make sure you show me all your work. That's going to help me know what you are struggling with. That is also the way to earn full credit. If you do not show me your work, you will not get all of the points for this, okay? The right answer is not enough in this case, okay? Also, at the top of the page, I'm gonna go ahead and flip it around for you. You can see you have this little box up top right here with these numbers. That's an answer bank. So when you solve a problem, you wanna look and see if the answer you got is at the top. And if it is, good. If it is not, then you need to try that problem again. I recommend doing this in pencil because you may need to erase, all right? Let's go ahead and take a look at problem number 1. Now I'm going to read this real quick. It says 1 minus 34 divided by the quantity 3 times 8 minus 7 minus 2 times 3. Okay, so we are going to take a look at our PEMDAS. My first letter here is a P. We start inside of our parentheses. So right in here, I have 3 times 8 times 7. Excuse me, 3 times 8 minus 7. So what is 3 times 8? It's going to give us a 24. We're going to bring down our minus 7. Now 24 minus 7. 24 minus 4 takes me to 20, minus 3 takes me to 17. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and bring down the rest of my problem. Now that we have done our first step inside of our parentheses, I'm going to bring down this minus 2 times 3. I'm going to bring down the divided. I'm going to bring down the 34. Oops, my 3 kind of cut out a little bit. There we go, my 34, and I'm going to bring down that 1. So now we have 1 minus 34 divided by 17 minus 2 times 3. So we did our parentheses. We're going to look and see, do we have any exponents? Nope, we're done. Move on. Okay, we're going to take a look and now look at our m's. So do we have any multiplication or division in order from left to right? So coming over, I got 1 minus 34 division divided by 17. So we're going to go ahead and do that first here. 34 divided by 17, that is going to give me 2. And now I'm going to take a look, continue going. I also have this multiplication, 2 times 3, which is going to give me, I should have changed colors for that. Our multiplication is yellow here, I'm sorry. So I'm going to do 2 times 3, and it's going to give me 6. Now we're going to go ahead and change, excuse me, I'm going to change back to my black, and we are going to bring everything down that did not get used. So 1 minus 2 minus 6. Looks like there is no more addition here, so let's finish out with our subtraction. Left to right. What is 1 minus 2? I get -1 minus 6. I am at -1. I go -6 more times. Or we can think about this like money. If you owe me $1 and then you owe me $6, how much money do you owe me altogether? Well, that's going to be a total of -7. And if I take a look back on my handy dandy little worksheet, look up in our answer key, we can see that -7 is in fact the correct answer. So for number 1, your answer is -7, okay? Continue working through those. Once again, if you cannot find the right answer in the answer box, try again. I'm also available from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. every day to take phone calls and to provide extra support for you guys, all right? So make sure that you're reaching out if you need me. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close out this whiteboard, and we are going to take a look at the big chunk for this unit. All right, so for this unit, like I said, for this learning period, like I said, the big focus here is we're learning about our 3-dimensional shapes. This works a lot like our compound shapes did, okay? The difference between a 3D and a 2D shape is just that you now have it in 3D space, right? A square you can draw on a piece of paper. A cube you could actually hold in your hand. So I have a page of notes here for you guys. I wanted to make sure that you read it. It also provides the directions. I've noticed some of you have had a hard time reading the directions, or maybe you've missed them. So I want to make sure that they are clearly explained to you here. A 3D figure is when you take shapes and you make a bigger shape out of them. Like I said, it's a lot like our compound shapes. There is some important vocabulary to know about in these 3-dimensional shapes, though. It is listed there for you, and we will be going over them as more in depth once I show you how to do the project part. So looking over those 3 vocab words, we are talking about vertices, edges, and faces, okay? Not these faces. We'll learn about shape faces. But looking at the directions, it says the pages that follow have drawings on them called nets. So if we take a 3D shape and we cut it and lay it out flat, it's called a net. You are going to make your own set of 3-dimensional shapes to look at. Okay, so step 1, you're going to cut out your net on solid lines. So here is one of my nets. Okay, I've already started cutting to make this go a little bit quicker, but this is the cube net. Okay, so you are going to cut your shape out. So you're going to remove all these pages off the back of your packet. You're going to cut it out real quick. You want to do the best that you can. Make sure you keep it extremely neat and organized, okay? So we'll go ahead, cut these out. And then you are actually going to keep these to help you out. What you will be turning in to show me is the graphic organizer that we are going to be using in a moment, okay? So here's my net. It's all cut out. Kind of looks a little bit like flour, or, you know. So step 2, after we've cut, we are going to fold all the dashed lines, okay? So if you look, the ones on the outside were solid and filled in. All of these kind of dotted lines on the inside are going to become folds. Now don't worry, I won't make you watch the whole thing, but I'll show you kind of how we get this set up. So I'm going to fold in a couple of these little pieces on the side here. Okay, now my first thing, what I like to do first, and where I like to start, is I fold in those little tabs right here, because when I do that, those are where you will be connecting the sides of your shape together, okay? So we can see I've got these 2 little floppy bits. I have my tab folded in. This tab is going to go underneath this. You want to line it up at the corner here, okay? And then if you've either got some glue, I've got some tape, you want to go ahead and stick it down so that your shape is able to start being formed. So like I said, I just used some tape here, but now we can start to see the corner of my shape forming. You're going to continue folding these, and you can see folding and taping, it will make the shape that you need, okay? I'm going to go ahead and finish mine now. All right, guys, so I got my little cube here made. Should look like a nice little shape for you. I am going to start Here it says, I am a 3D shape. Good, we know this. Okay. I turn, it says I am a cube. So you remember what the name of these are. There's also a drawing of it, so you can remember what they look like if we were to draw one on paper. Okay. Let's turn again. It says I have blank faces. So now we want to look at our vocab words and we want to talk about what these important things are and what we need to do to figure out how many of these we have. So I'm going back to my note sheet and it says the flat side of the shape is called a face. This is a face. So you're going to take a moment, count how many flat pieces are on each of your shapes. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 for a cube. So then I'm going to write on my cube that it has 6 faces. Had a little typo, my tape got in the way. Okay, these don't have to be perfect. They are more for your help than anything else, because I know I have a really hard time visualizing and putting these pictures in my head. It's a lot easier when it's in my hands. Okay, so we're going to turn again. Now it says I have blank edges. So I go back to my 3D shape, or excuse me, my 3D figures notes, and it says where two sides meet is called an edge. So if I take this side, this face, and this face, this is the edge, okay? So I'm gonna have 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 edges. Okay, I have 12 edges, wrote it in there nice. We're gonna turn it again. I got faces, I got edges. Now we need to figure out vertices. Now I come back to my notes page. It says the corners are called vertices. Vertex is what we call it if there's only one. So we need to count all these little bitty corners here, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 vertices, okay? And there's one last side to my cube. It says, I look like a blank. So I want to think about, in the real world, what kind of things are in this shape in the real world? So let's see, I'm looking around my backyard. I wonder if I have any cubes here. Well, not in my backyard, unfortunately. But we can think of a few things that are cube-shaped. It's getting pretty warm out. I bet you put ice cubes in your drink. Okay, you could do an ice cube or a sugar cube. Also, if anybody has, you know, a birthday coming up, you may get a nice present that could be shaped like a box or a cube. So I drew my present and I drew a picture of it. Okay, remember, you don't have to be a good artist. You just need to do the work so that it helps you. Okay, my cube is done. What you're going to do is all of the exact same things, but for the remaining shapes and nets in this packet, okay? You're going to do an exploration. You're going to complete all the sides on those nets, and you are going to fill out the information. The last step is you want to collect it all on this graphic organizer. So all the research that you just did, all the counting, all of the putting the shapes together, you are going to organize all of your data here. So I'm going to fill out the top line with you guys so we know what's going on. So it says cube, draw the shape. Okay, so I'm going to use my cube here. They have this nice drawing on it. I'm going to use this to help me out. We want to draw a cube. Now I'm going to show y'all how I do this, but on a whiteboard so that you can see. Let's go ahead and clear that out. When I'm drawing a 3D shape, okay, I like to think about what kind of reference points I have. So for a cube, I know that the sides, those faces, are squares. So I can draw 2 squares and connect corners, connect those vertexes that would match each other. And there you go, okay? Any of the prisms you wanna make are gonna work like that. You have a circle, connect the sides, boom, cylinder. Remember, you're not looking for beautiful here. You're just looking to make sure that you know how to represent this shape. If you have a pyramid, which you will at the end, say we have a square-based pyramid, okay? I draw my square, I put a point at the top, and now that point, I'm gonna connect to all these corners. Boom, pyramid, okay? That is going to help you guys as you go through, draw the shape. So I'm gonna draw my shape here on my paper. Connect my vertices. I'll show you guys when my beautiful piece of art is done. You can see I just redrew that same little cube here. The next column asks how many faces. And as long as you did this right, you've already done this work. You just need to check it. My cube had 6 faces. My cube had 8 vertices, and my cube had 12 edges. Done. You're going to make sure, look through once you've made all your made all your nets, you are going to use them to fill out this graphic organizer. This is really important this week. This is the bulk of your grade. It is worth 2 assignments. Your other homeworks are also important. They will be graded. And it is important that you are doing them on time. Once again, remember that I am here from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. for you guys every day. Please let me know if you're needing any help, and I can reach out and make things a lot more clear for you. All right, I hope everyone's doing well. I will have your next video lesson up here shortly. Have a good one.